Year 1984. While other kids were playing video games, a 12-year-old boy was coding and creating his own video game. He was a genius. Different from everyone else, and that's why he had no friends. He was badly bullied. But even then, he didn't give up. Today, by building rockets, electric cars, and AI tools, that same boy has become the richest man in the world. This is the story of Elon Musk. Elon Musk was born in 1971 in the city of Pretoria, South Africa. His father was a mechanical engineer, and his mother a model and dietitian. In childhood, Elon had a problem. He would often go into a trance-like state. During those moments, no matter what was happening around him, he wouldn't have the slightest clue. His parents and doctors thought there was something wrong with his hearing. But later it was discovered that during those episodes, his brain functioned like a supercomputer. He would lose focus on the outside world, and his entire brain power would be directed toward visualizing complex ideas. Basically, there was a fully functioning science lab inside his head. Elon would also spend hours reading encyclopedias and science fiction books. These books made him highly intellectual. One night, he was playing outside with his cousins, when one of them said she was afraid of the dark. Elon replied, "Darkness is only the absence of light." Elon always responded to people in logical and factual ways, which made other kids dislike him. In fact, he was badly bullied at school. Once, a gang of students threw him down a flight of stairs and beat him so badly that he had to be hospitalized. But all of these incidents made Elon strong, able to endure pain and hardship. Until the age of 8, Elon's family lived happily. This photo is from those happy times. But within just a year, everything fell apart. His parents got divorced, yet Elon decided to stay with his father. At the age of 10, he saw a computer in a mall for the first time and was so fascinated by it that he insisted his father buy it. Eventually, he got this computer with 5 kilobytes of memory, along with a workbook for learning basic programming language. Generally, this workbook was designed to be completed in 6 months, but Elon finished all the lessons in just 3 days, working continuously without sleep. In 1984, at the age of just 12, Elon used that computer to create a video game and named it Blaster. It was a single-player space shooter game, in which the player used their spaceship to destroy alien ships. He even sold Blaster to a company for $500. Technically, this was his first business. By high school, Elon realized that he was more capable than the other kids, and only one country could do justice to his capabilities. That country was America. But before that, he planned to go to Canada because Elon had a relative who was a Canadian citizen, and according to Canadian law, she could transfer her citizenship to her children. In this way, 17-year-old Elon left for Canada. In Canada, he lived with his cousin and started doing odd jobs. In 1989, his mother and brother Kimball also moved to Canada, and during this time, Elon got admission into Queen's University. Within 2 years, he transferred to the University of Pennsylvania in the USA, finally setting foot in America. In 1995, after finishing college, Elon and his brother Kimball wanted to start their own startup. At that time, the internet had started reaching the masses rapidly. Yet, to find local businesses or stores, people still had to use city paper directories. These directories listed all business details in the area. For directions, people had to use physical maps or ask others. Seeing this, Elon got the idea. Why not create an online listing for businesses? A website where all city businesses would be listed and divided into categories like restaurants, hotels, and doctors, so people could locate them easily. And it would also have an online map for directions. Elon and Kimball rented a small apartment and began working on the idea. They named their startup Zip2. Elon would code day and night, and Kimball would go door to door convincing shopkeepers to get listed on Zip2. Within a year, the Zip2 team grew. The platform improved, and customers started joining quickly. Later, Zip2 also started building software for other companies. Seeing this, the company secured $3 million and then $50 million in funding. By 1999, the internet boom was at its peak, and big companies were eager to acquire good startups. That's when Compaq acquired Zip2 for $37 million. In return for his shares, Elon received $22 million. And just like that, at the age of 27, Elon Musk became a multimillionaire. Elon could have retired with that money. But the success of Zip2 was not even 1% of what the future held for him. By the way, if you run or want to start a business, the banking industry was quite slow and old-fashioned. That's when he decided he wanted to disrupt the banking industry. His vision was to take every aspect of banking, payments, investments, loans, and savings accounts, completely online without the need for any physical branches. With this vision, he invested $12 million and in 1999 launched LinkToX.com. But at that time, people didn't even trust online shopping. Online banking was out of the question. Because of this, it was very difficult for Elon to attract customers. So Elon came up with a brilliant scheme. He started offering $20 for free to every new user who joined. This $20 could be spent by the customer immediately. Additionally, a referral bonus of $10 was given for referring the app to others. This strategy was so successful that within just 2 months, LinkToX.com had gained 200,000 users. But the problem was that Elon wasn't the only one doing this. Around the same time, a young entrepreneur named Peter Thiel also started a digital bank called PayPal. Both companies were spending crores of rupees on marketing to outcompete each other. But at the beginning of the year 2000, they realized that if they kept fighting like this, both companies would be ruined. So in March, the two companies merged. Elon became the largest shareholder and CEO of the new company, and the company was named LinkToX.com. But after the merger, it became clear that there were many disagreements between Elon and the founders of PayPal. While Elon wanted the company to be called LinkToX.com, the employees and customers preferred the name PayPal. Moreover, Elon's management style was quite ruthless. He micromanaged his employees and publicly criticized them for their mistakes. Tasks that typically took days or weeks, Elon expected them to be completed in just a few hours. Around the same time, Elon got married to his longtime girlfriend Justine, and in September 2000, they went to Australia for their honeymoon. Taking advantage of this opportunity, the company's senior executives and board of directors removed him from the position of CEO and made Peter Thiel the new CEO. Elon tried very hard to regain control after returning, but he was not successful. However, he remained the largest shareholder of PayPal. Luckily, under Peter Thiel's leadership, PayPal also saw significant growth, and in 2002, eBay acquired PayPal for $1.5 billion. From this deal, Elon received a total of $180 million. After PayPal's success, Elon had become one of the most successful entrepreneurs in Silicon Valley. But just then, a major tragedy occurred in Elon's life. Due to an illness, he lost his 2.5-month-old son forever. This incident deeply impacted Elon. He didn't return home for 3 weeks because he didn't have the courage to see the empty cradle at home. As a child, Elon used to immerse himself in books and programming to deal with bullying. Similarly, to cope with the loss of his son, he committed himself to work. In 2001, at the age of 30, Elon began searching again for an industry that could be disrupted. As a child, he was deeply interested in space and used to build and launch mini rockets. So he began exploring the space sector. One day, a question popped into his mind. Why haven't humans explored Mars yet? He checked NASA's website and found that NASA had no concrete plans to explore Mars. And in that very moment, he decided that his next mission would be to explore Mars. Elon met with the world's best rocket scientists and immersed himself in rocket science books to the point where he began becoming an expert in rocket science himself. Elon launched the Life to Mars Foundation and started the Mars Oasis project, whose main aim was to send a pressurized greenhouse to Mars and grow the first plant there. His objective was to prove to the world that life on Mars was possible. He wanted to show this experiment to the world through cameras and reignite global interest in Mars exploration. Elon's plan was to buy intercontinental ballistic missiles from Russia and use them as launch vehicles. He planned a trip to Russia with some aerospace experts, but the negotiations with the Russians never really went well. The Russians didn't take Elon seriously because of his age. Elon had come there to buy 3 missiles for $20 million, but the Russians quoted a price of $21 million for just one missile. Elon and his team realized that expecting rockets from Russia was pointless. On the return flight, while his team sat disappointed, Elon was busy working on his laptop. After a while, he told his team, "We'll build the rockets ourselves." He had already calculated the cost of raw materials, manufacturing, assembly, and launch on his laptop. He realized that the cost of raw materials required to build a rocket was only 2 to 3% of the total cost of the finished rocket. The remaining costs could be reduced through better design and manufacturing processes. Elon understood that the real problem in the space industry wasn't that no one was exploring Mars, but that humanity simply didn't have affordable rockets to do so. That's why he was now ready to transform the space industry. This is how SpaceX was born. In June 2002, Elon bought a 75,000 square foot warehouse and converted it into a modern rocket factory. From organizations like Boeing and NASA, he hired the world's best rocket scientists and engineers. They had only one mission: to become the company that builds the cheapest and fastest rockets in the space industry. To achieve this, Elon used several innovative strategies. While other aerospace companies kept design and build teams separate, SpaceX made both teams work together. This saved time and reduced errors. Then SpaceX adopted vertical integration. That is, parts that were earlier sourced from third-party suppliers, like engines, fuel, tanks, and battery packs, were now made in-house by SpaceX. because suppliers were slow and expensive. Finally, Elon noticed that other companies were spending 2 to 3 times more on every rocket part, while the same tasks could be accomplished using cheaper components. With this, Elon declared that SpaceX's first rocket would be named Falcon 1. At that time, other companies charged around $70 million to send a 600-kilogram payload into low Earth orbit, whereas Elon promised to send the same payload for just $7 million. SpaceX's target was to launch Falcon 1 within a year, but despite all efforts, it took 4 full years to prepare. Finally, in 2006, the day arrived. The 70-foot-tall silver-colored Falcon 1 was ready for launch. The countdown ended, and the rocket began to lift off, and the whole team erupted in joy. Suddenly, after just 25 seconds, disaster struck. Due to a small fuel leak, a fire broke out near the engine. Falcon 1 lost control and crashed. Elon and his team were literally watching their dreams go up in flames, but they gathered courage and immediately began preparing for the second launch. Exactly 1 year later, Falcon 1's second launch attempt took place. This time, 3 minutes had passed since the launch, and everything seemed fine. The first stage separation happened perfectly. But then, the second stage engine shut off prematurely. As a result, Falcon 1 started spinning mid-air and crashed again. Elon was heartbroken, but he knew he was very close to success, so he started preparations for the third launch. In August 2008, the third launch attempt of Falcon 1 took place, but once again, success slipped through their fingers. Due to a minor error, Falcon 1 exploded mid-air. There was pin-drop silence in the control room. With this rocket, Elon had also burned off $100 million. SpaceX now had funds left for only one more launch. If the next attempt failed, SpaceX would cease to exist forever. On one hand, SpaceX was struggling, and on the other, Elon's second company was also on the verge of collapse, Tesla. When Elon was entering the space industry, he was also analyzing the automobile industry. Elon knew that the cars of that time depended on fossil fuels, and fossil fuels were depleting rapidly. Plus, they caused pollution. That's why his prediction was that in the future, every government would want to shift to clean energy-powered cars. In short, electric cars were the future. At that time, a few companies had launched electric cars. For example, General Motors EV1, but due to being slow, expensive, and having low range, all of them failed. After this, automobile companies shifted their focus away from electric cars. Elon understood that if electric cars were to become successful, they would have to be better than gasoline cars in terms of speed, range, price, and aspirational value. Fortunately, he found a startup working with the same vision, and that startup was Tesla Motors. Tesla was started by engineers named Martin and Mark, and their idea was to build a high-performance electric sports car named Roadster. Traditional electric cars use lead-acid batteries, but Tesla discovered in their research that if the Roadster needed to be charged quickly and have a range of 300 kilometers, it would have to use the same batteries used in phones and laptops, lithium-ion batteries. Additionally, their plan was for the Roadster to go from 0 to 100 kilometers per hour in just 4 seconds. And in terms of looks and features, it would be highly superior. Seeing this vision, Elon invested $6.5 million in Tesla in 2004 and became its lead investor. But as bold as Tesla's vision was, its execution was equally difficult. Lithium-ion battery technology was quite new, and modifying it for use in a car was proven to be very difficult. Additionally, Tesla had estimated that they would be able to sell each Roadster car for only $65,000. But by 2007, the cost of making the car alone had reached $100,000. At such high costs, Tesla's business model would collapse entirely. Understanding the urgency of the situation, Elon himself became Tesla's CEO. But before he could take any major steps, came the global financial crisis of 2008, which negatively impacted the automobile industry greatly. Apart from SpaceX, all the capital Elon had was already invested in Tesla, and the other investors refused to put in more money. As a result, Tesla was on the verge of bankruptcy. Basically, in 2008, on one side was Elon's SpaceX, which was on the brink of ruin after 3 consecutive launch failures, and on the other side, Tesla Motors was about to go bankrupt. In such a situation, any logical entrepreneur would have raised funds and saved at least one of the two companies. But Elon was different. He sold his McLaren car and other personal assets and invested that money in Tesla so that it could survive a few more days. Along with this, he personally got involved in making the 4th launch of Falcon 1 successful. Finally, in December 2008, the day of Falcon 1's 4th launch arrived. Once again, Falcon 1 stood ready on the launch pad. The future of SpaceX and even Elon's future depended on this one rocket. The countdown ended, and the rocket began to lift off. The first stage was successful. The second stage was successful. And the third stage was also successful. But no one celebrated yet. A few minutes later, everyone in the control room began to cheer. Confirmation had appeared on the screen. Falcon 1 had reached orbit. SpaceX had become the first private company in the world to do this. Just a few weeks later, NASA awarded SpaceX a contract worth $1.6 billion. Under this contract, SpaceX was to deliver cargo to the International Space Station. Due to this contract, SpaceX became the most successful private space company in the world. But on the other hand, Tesla was still struggling. That's why Elon personally contacted investors and explained to them that not only was the car ready, but thousands of people had already pre-ordered it. They just needed the funding to mass-produce the car and deliver it to customers. Finally, Elon's hard work paid off. On Christmas Eve, he received emergency funding of $40 million, and Tesla was saved from bankruptcy just days before it could collapse. With this funding, Tesla began mass production and deliveries of the Roadster, and its success proved to the world that an electric car could be fast, long-range, and classy. But there was one problem. The Roadster was a two-seater sports car that was quite expensive and made for only a niche customer segment. Elon knew that if Tesla were to become a successful and large automobile company in the long run, it would have to make cars for the mass market. That's why, in 2012, Tesla launched the Model S, a premium electric sedan that could go from 0 to 97 kilometers per hour in just 4.2 seconds. On a single charge, it had a range of about 500 kilometers and had a very cool look. But the special thing about the Model S was that it wasn't just a car, it was a computer with wheels. It had a massive 17-inch touchscreen through which users could virtually control every function of the car, such as lighting, climate, navigation, and entertainment. Plus, like a laptop or mobile phone, improvements and new features could be added through software updates. Even the car's door handles would automatically pop out when a user approached the car. Because of all this, the Model S wasn't just a good electric car, it was far better than all existing cars. As soon as it launched, the Model S became quite successful and was awarded Car of the Year by Motor Trend. After this, not only did Tesla launch its IPO, but by 2013 it also became profitable. Later, Tesla launched the Model X, Model 3, and Model Y, and by 2017, Tesla had become the most valuable car company in the world. Today, Tesla is very close to building fully self-driving cars. On the other hand, SpaceX launched the Falcon 9, which could carry 50 times the payload to space compared to the Falcon 1. Then in 2015, they launched reusable rockets, eliminating the need to build a new rocket for every launch, which significantly reduced the cost of space travel. Through SpaceX, Elon also launched thousands of satellites under the name Starlink, which are providing high-speed internet services to many parts of the world. And today, they are building their biggest rocket yet, Starship, which will be capable of taking humans to Mars. Apart from this, to revolutionize transportation, Elon also conceptualized the Boring Company and Hyperloop. In 2015, he launched Neuralink, which implants computer chips in human brains to enable direct communication between the brain and computers. Elon's latest move was acquiring Twitter in 2023 to enter the social media space. Along with this, he has also started an AI company through XAI. Because of all these companies, Elon has become the richest person in the world, with a net worth of around $400 billion, almost double that of the second richest person, Jeff Bezos. But as rich as Elon is, he is equally controversial. His employees have complained about tough working conditions and extreme work pressure. Even after acquiring Twitter, he laid off thousands of employees in one go. His controversial tweets have often negatively impacted stock prices. Finally, after donating around $280 million to election campaigning, Elon has become quite close to President Trump. Because of this, he holds a lethal combination of money and political power, and some people fear that he might misuse it. But despite all this, one thing fits 100% in the case of Elon. Love him or hate him, you can't ignore him. Because a man doesn't wait for the future, he builds the future himself. This was the story of Elon Musk. If you liked this video, I recommend that you watch this next video.